Good morning. This is Sunday morning, but you'll see this Monday morning. I'm fixing to go down to the shop and sharpen the two sharp fingers. Really sharp. The satin finished sharp finger is sold. And of course the other one is going to Luxembourg. This is the box that's going to Luxembourg. That's the box that's going to the fellow about the one I finished up yesterday. Just wanted to show you this wax. This is $25 for that little thing of wax. And it's called Renaissance wax. And let me show you something else that I use. This is what I use daily when I'm working on knives. While I'm still working on them, this wax is the wax I put on. This is the final wax I put on before I ship them out, because it protects the metal, far better. This protects the metal as I'm working on it, and it's a lot cheaper. This is, like 15 bucks for that size and 25 bucks for this size. And this just keeps my fingerprints from, affecting the metal that I've polished and stuff like that. And I use it several times while I'm working on the polished knives and making the sheaths and trying the knife in the sheath. And it protects the knife from the wet sheath, especially because, by the time I get the sewed up and get the knife in there, it is still wet. And leaving the coating of this on it prevents the moisture from damaging the metal. So I'm going to do a couple things today. I am going to try and cook some bacon in my solar oven. I've cooked lots of things, but I have never cooked bacon. So I got a pound of bacon that I got the other day from some lady rubbing my butt. And I'm going to put that in the solar oven for a few hours and see if I know it'll cook, but I don't know if it'll come out crispy. So we will see. Okay, gonna go get the edge on these and then come back and get them in their boxes. And tomorrow, Monday, as soon as the post office opens, I'll go get these in the mail. So let's go down to the shop and get to work. Alrighty, here we are. Those are the knives. This is the bevel grinding jig that I put the strips on, and everything looks okay. I had a little bit of adhesive epoxy leak out and get on the bottom of the strip. So I'm going to take a razor and cut this off, and then I'm going to take some acetone. I'll see if I can rub that off right there, because it doesn't feel like it would make any difference, but I want to give this every chance I can to be slick as ice. So let me get some acetone on a rag and see if I can rub that off. All right, let's go see how easy this slides across that now. I put some ceramic style wax on this yesterday. Just some stuff I got at the dollar store. It was on sale. All right. Let's pretend we're grinding a knife. I do believe that's going to work. As a matter of fact, before the day is out, I'm going to grind me some bevels. I got two blades over there that aren't spoken for. These four are spoken for, so I'm going to grind the bevels all at the same time so they'll all look identical. And if you haven't noticed, all these holes are identical because I drilled them all at the same time, stacked up. So these two, I will get some bevels ground on them today. And now I got to clean this up just a little bit right here, because I don't want to get any grit on my finished knives, and it'll happen. So I'm gonna get cleaned up. I'm gonna start putting the edge on these, and then I'm gonna grind some bevels on those two knives. That's probably all I'm gonna do down here today, because I got my solar oven out, and I'm gonna see if I can cook me some bacon in the solar oven. I think I already mentioned that. So here we go. Let's get to work. All right, I got the edges on these two knives. Man, they're sharp. I hate handling them after I put the edge on them. All I'm going to do is put my wax on them and clean them up, put them in the sheaths, and get them out of here, or else they'll cut me. But we're fixing to grind the bevel. You want to see? I'll put you in the phone cradle here, and you can watch. Well, I hope this doesn't vibrate too awful much. This feels pretty good. We'll know in a couple of seconds. This is a brush that I make a pass or two and I brush it off, but apparently I'm not doing it often enough. Alrighty. Get my water out here, my Dunkin' water. Okay, it's probably going to vibrate, so I can't help that. Here we go. Make sure you can see when I put that light around it. I think it's going to work great. I think I leaned it back too much. Okay, 1 second, I'll show it to you. I gotta put a fine belt on now. One second. Man, oh man, oh man. Brian, spelling error is his YouTube handle, and it's funny because he spelled spelling error wrong. That's the funny. His name is Brian. That was a heck of a good idea. I don't know why me and another experienced knife maker couldn't think of this, but it works perfect. I can't thank you enough. Take a look at that freaking bevel, man. Come on. You could not ask for a cleaner, sharper bevel. I'm excited. All right, I'm going to flip it around and do the other side. You want to watch? What the hell, you're here? You got nothing to do. Let's flip it around. I'll show you how I set it up. Okay, there's one side. Now, the thing is to make the other side look exactly like this, and if you'll see, I am exactly on the line that I scribed. I miss it a little bit up here, but that's every tip is different, and you really got to work hard to match them up. So, you can't get much more perfect than that as far as bevels go. Now, the trick is to make the other side look just as perfect. And you have to set it up exactly the same. So I have a mark. Hold on 1 second. I have a mark, a center mark right here. And what I do is line the hole up on my center scribe mark. Hold it there, tighten her up. Now I gotta lean it out a little further, because what I have found is if you grind into the, see, I got a center line marked here where I want the edges to meet to make the final edge. So I lean it in hard against the belt, and then as I come into the center line, when I got it exactly where I want it on the center line, then I start leaning it back and bringing my grind line down to my scribed line. All right, let me get the other belt on. Now, here's the hard part. Making both bevels look identical. And the way I started, which was my left side going that way, is the hardest side. And it's easier for me on my good side, my right side, to match the left side bevel. See what I'm saying? Rip more of them.
Getting there. Put the fine belt on. Let me tell you another little trick I've learned. Now, I brought it to too thin here. So what I'm going to do is on the, actually you're right on the grinder that I'm going to use, is I'm going to bring the thickness of this edge down to about a 32nd. Because otherwise, when you heat treat it, it warps. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to shut you off and we'll go over and sit down and have a look at this. So we want to look at two things here. We want to look at my plunge line to be sure it's equal on each side, and it is. And the plunge line is where you go in. Right here is the plunge line on each side. So we are equal and perfect. And then the bevel grind line, you know, what I do is I take my calipers there, right there, and I open them to what I want the depth of the bevel to come to, and I just scribe it on both sides here, like this. And actually, this is the next one I'm going to grind. So you just can't get any more right on the money than that there. Jeez. And I thickened the edge up a little bit by putting it on my, let's see how close I can get to this. So it's about a 30-second. Oh man, Brian, that was a heck of a good idea. Works perfectly. All these years I've been struggling trying to figure a better way, and making less surface contact was absolutely the way to go. So you're a smart man, and thank you for that tip. It works perfect. And man, I don't know what to say. It's just gotten too easy now. Now I'm gonna have to start giving away the knives instead of charging for them because it's just too easy. All right, let me get this on the bevel. I'm kidding. There's no free knives. I'm gonna get this on the bevel grinder, and of all days, you know, for like 2 weeks now, it's been blistering like fire on the outside. And today I get my solar oven out, set it in what is supposed to be sun to get warmed up, and I was gonna go put some bacon in there, cook some bacon, but there's cloudy. I mean, what happened? So whenever I want it to cool down, all I need to do is drag my solar oven out, and sunshine goes away. All right, so if the sun doesn't come out, there's really no reason for me to go home, so I may work on these a little bit more. All right, let me get the bevels ground on this, and I will have a really good start on 2 knives. And here's what I'm gonna do. One of these knives, I'm gonna do a working satin finish with some of my working wood, probably walnut. And the other knife, I'm gonna do mirror. You know what? I have my last piece of highly figured desert ironwood. I have lots of desert ironwood, but none of it's what you would call a presentation grade. And this is it. I think I'm gonna do desert ironwood and walnut. Oh, I do have more wenge wood. I'll be damned, I forgot I had that. Huh. So where's my walnut? Is that my walnut up there? Yes, it is. All right, this is all stabilized, so there's no, it doesn't absorb, you know, blood or whatever that's a nice piece of stabilized, it's homegrown walnut right there. So I used some of my homegrown walnut on the working knife, the satin finish knife, and the shiny knife will get my very last piece of presentation grade desert ironwood. That's a $70 piece of wood right there. Alrighty, so let's just say that's for that, and I'll find a nice piece of walnut. It'll be stabilized, but it'll be wood that I've got myself, and this will be a, you know, I call it a working finish, so you know, you can use it and not worry about scratching the mirror polish. Okay, let's get this on the grinder and get to making bevels. Well, I've got a couple of options here, so I'll tell you what. This is going to be mirror polished with highly figured presentation desert ironwood with stainless pins. They'll be polished. And this is going to be a working knife with a satin finish. So if anybody wants this and you want the choice, here are your choices. You can have plain Jane walnut, which is stabilized. You could have redwood lace burl, and I'm only offering these because I didn't pay a lot for them. They're stabilized, and boy, when they buff up, they are beautiful. And this is synthetic, and it's going to be mostly black. There's some silver in there, but I've used these before, and by the time you sand it and buff it, it's mostly black with some silver, you know, highlights, I guess. So plain Jane walnut, redwood lace burl, or synthetic, if anybody wants this, and I can use either brass or stainless pins, whichever you prefer. So if you want this, let me know, and I'll make it the way you want it. But it is going to be a satin finish, so it's going to take me a while, you know, a few days to. So you got a few days to think about it. If anybody wants it, let me know. Alrighty, yeah, I guess it's just not going to be sunny today. So maybe I'll get to work on these a little bit. I'll figure out what I want to do. I'm going to pet my dog and think about it. It is Sunday. So maybe I should go home and just hang out in the front porch and wait for the sunshine to come out. Okay, this would be the last clip. I looked at the weather and it is supposed to be partly cloudy today. The sun's out right now and it's been coming in and going out. And I just don't want to risk putting bacon in the solar oven and then, not having it cook fairly quickly. Because, pork, if you're not careful with pork, you can get real sick if it doesn't cook thoroughly and, hot and quickly. So the final thing I want to say is I've started sanding a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy today. I'm just going to sand a little bit and go home. But this is some sandpaper I bought because it was made by the same company called, golly, I can't remember the name of the company. It's made in Germany. VS Vitex, I think that's the name of it. Vitex, yeah. So I had some old sandpaper that, I knew I was going to come to the end of it. When I bought this place, the man who used to own this place sold tools, sandpaper, tools, bits, machinery, and this building that I am in, half of it was his office. And then right here, he had a shed that was just filled with machine tools, bits, and, all kinds of interesting things. Some of them I kept, some of them I sent to a friend of mine who is a machinist. I just gave them to him because he's, actually, I'll tell you who it is. Y'all know him if you've been here a while. He made me a Kydex press and just sent it to me at a lot of expense. And when I came across all these tools, I knew just who to send them to. And they're, machine tools and lathe tools and milling tools. And I boxed them all up and sent them to him. And that's Steve Cox. And Steve had done a lot of nice things for me. Just nice things, And I could finally do something nice for him. And I sent him, I don't know, probably 30, 40 pounds worth of tools as I came across them and cleaned this place up. So the building that used to be there is way over by my garage, and that's where I store my gas and my propane. And this, of course, part of it was their dining room, and from about here on back was his office. And of course they passed away. And stay there, I'm coming right back. I did something. I knew these folks. First thing I did was he had a stroke and they couldn't come down here. This building, here, get this is a story. This building used to be level with that doorway. And then I'm not going to say who, wasn't me. Somebody parked right here. There's a driveway over here. And instead of hitting the brake, they hit the gas and they knocked the cinder blocks out from underneath this. So it fell. And right here where it fell is where it stayed. So they had this ladder-like thing that was super, super steep. And after he had a stroke, he could only lift his legs up so high. So I came and I built these really thin steps where you don't have to lift your legs up too high, but the door opened outward. So I take the door off, turn it around, and put it where it mounted inwards. And another thing I did in here was I widened that door because nobody knew whether he was going to have to be in a wheelchair or not, and it was way too skinny for a wheelchair. And then this was where this was their bedroom. And this was a garden tub, but hold on, where's the light switch? Here we go. But he couldn't lift his feet up and get in the garden tub, so he was old, and we all knew he probably wouldn't be here long, and he wasn't. So this was the best I could do to help him get in here. That's that there is just a couple inches above the bottom of the tub, and I put grab rails all around where he could get in, right here where he could get up. Boy, does that look like, what the hell came in here? Huh. I am totally stumped. What would have done that? I mean, a cat, but I don't have a cat in here. Oh well. So anyway, I did that, and I put these grab rails everywhere, both bathrooms. And then he passed away. And then I bought this place, so I don't know what started me telling you about that, but I am. Okay. I have no idea why I started telling you about that. I had a point I was going to make. Oh well. I started talking about sandpaper. Okay, that's what, okay. So, you know, in the garage, he also had a bunch of stuff in the garage, and tons of that sandpaper, like a stack that thick of, what is it, 9 by 11, what is it, 8 by 11, that sandpaper, 8 by 12, something like that. And I cut it up into the pieces that I use for sanding the metal and sanding the wood. And, oh, it was some fantastic stuff. And I told myself when I got down to, 100 or so pieces left, I was going to look for it. And I could not find it, but I found the company, and they sold the same grit, but it looked different. And I bought it, and that sucks. That's terrible stuff. I'm going to use it. This is how much of that crap I got left. I mean, this was full. So I can't wait to finish off this and buy something better, because that's real crap. And this is what I use when I'm sanding the metal here. So, alrighty, that's all I want to tell you. I'm gonna sand just a little bit and call it a day. So y'all have a good Monday.